So hello and welcome to this Adobe Animate tutorial. This is going to be part 5, the last part of creating an HTML5 game. And right now I will show you what we are going to be doing. So we are going to have a simple grid of shapes and I am going to have button play. And if I am going to click button play, some shapes are going to be selected randomly. And then after a few seconds they are going to reset, and out of memory I will have to click them like so, and if I am going to click them correctly, I am going to have text winner. One more time I am going to have button play, and if I click one more time, I will go to new level with 4 shapes. And right now I will have to click all of them like so, and I will go to new level with the 5 shapes and so on. So as I said, this is part 5, this is the last part of this series. And if you didn't watch previous parts, I highly recommend you to watch them, because otherwise this is probably not going to make any sense. But yeah, we are just continuing, and right now we can start. Okay, so right now I am in the Adobe Animate and I will show you what we have so far. So I will go with Ctrl Enter, Command Enter. I am going to open my console, and if I am going to click play, I am going to have 5 shapes selected like so. Right now I cannot click anything, and if I am going to click the correct shapes, I am going to have text winner, and I can one more time click play, and one more time it is going to be like so. I cannot click until they are going to reset, and I can win one more time, or I can go play, and right now I am going to lose, and I am going to have text loser, and I can still play, and so on. So in this tutorial we are going to make levels, and we are going to make little adjustments to my code. So I will go to the code that we have so far, and very quick recapitulation, only if you watched part 4 a few days ago, and right now you are watching part 5. So basically we have let root is equal to this, because we cannot use keyword this inside of the function, because this refers to the main timeline in here, but in the functions it refers to the function, so we have it in variable root. We have score is equal to 0. We have the text loser and winner, and we are making it invisible. We have the my blues array, which is like the original shapes. We have target blues, which is the empty array where we are going to be pushing our things. Then we have start game function, which is going to be called when we click on button play. And in the start game, at the beginning, we are making text loser and text winner invisible. They are invisible in the first round, but in the second round, one of them is going to be visible. So we are basically going to make both of them invisible. In case that we win, the text winner would be visible. If we lose, text loser would be visible. But yeah, we are making button play invisible, so we don't click it anymore. Potentially we have this remove listener on the btn play, but we have commented this out, because when we make it invisible we do not need to remove this. Then we are going to generate numbers, and yeah, I am not going to explain this. This is from part 1. We are generating it, we are pushing it, we are splicing it, and so on. So at the end of the generate nums, we are going to get end with the target blues, which is going to have 5 shapes, and my blues is going to have only 4 shapes, and together these two arrays are going to contain all of the shapes. And then in the start game we are with the set timeout calling reset target alpha after 5000 milliseconds after 5 seconds. So it is in here reset target alpha. In here we are making the target blues, the blues that we have selected, to be alpha 1. We are adding correct listeners and adding wrong listeners. So on the selected shapes we are adding correct listeners. On the shapes that were not selected we are adding wrong listeners. So we have add wrong listeners, and we have a for loop where we are adding all of those listeners. Then we have we are calling the function of wrong shape click, and in the function of wrong shape click we have this parameter, but we do not need to have this because we didn't use it. It was for the current target. But yeah, we are console.logging lost. We are making the text the loser to be visible true, and we are resetting game. We will come there in the moment, and we are adding add correct listeners at the same time. So it is going to be in here, add correct listeners. We are adding listeners to the correct shapes, and we are calling function correct shape click. In there we have the parameter which is going to determine with eCurrent target which shape we clicked. We are storing that into variable blue, so we do not need to every time type eCurrent target alpha, eCurrent target remove, but you do not need this variable. We are changing the opacity to 0.2. We could change it to the 0, but we are changing it to 0.2. Then we are removing the listener. If we would change this to the 0, like so, we potentially wouldn't need this remove listener, but I will keep it as we have, so for now, so 0.2, and yeah, we are increasing the score, we are console.logging the score, we are comparing score with target blues.length, because if we are going to generate 5 shapes, then the score needs to be 5. If we are going to generate 3 shapes, score needs to be 3, and so on. We already explained this a couple of times. We are console.logging winner. We are making root text winner visible to be true, and we are resetting the game. And basically in the reset game, what we want is we want to remove all of the listeners that we have. So what listeners we have? We have listeners on the we have add correct listeners and add wrong listeners functions, and in the add wrong listeners we are adding listeners to all of the shapes that were not selected. So in the reset game, what we are going to do is we are going to go with the same loop with myblues.length, the same as in here, but instead of add even listener, we are going to remove even listener. The same thing we are going to do with the add correct listeners. Here we have here we are looping through target blues, the selected one, and we are saying target blues I add listeners. And the same thing we are doing in the reset function, we are removing those listeners. So with this one and this one, if we are going to lose or if we are going to win, we are going to reset all of these click listeners, because reset game is something that we call in a wrong shape click, and the same reset game is something that we call when we win. So we call it when we lose, we call it when we win, and yeah, we are resetting score to be 0, because at the beginning we want to score it to be 0. We are making root btn play visible to be true, because in the start game, after we click on the btn play, we made it invisible. So right now we are making it visible. You know, I explained to you that if in the start game you would remove listener on the btn play, in here you would have to add. But yeah, target blues was at the beginning 0. It was at the beginning empty. Target blues. But with the generate nums, we have filled it with the shapes, and we want to go to the initial position, initial state, and we are going to say target blues length is going to be 0, because we want the length to be 0. We want to, this is the way how we are going to make the array to be basically empty. We are doing the same thing with myblues.length, because myblues at the beginning contain all of the shapes. Right now it is going to contain only 4 of the shapes, but we are going to make it to be empty. So we will go myblues length to be 0, and then we are pushing like myblues.push, and we are pushing all of the shapes inside. Okay, and I am using keyword root instead of this, because we are in the function and it is something that I have explained. And the last thing that we are doing in the reset game, we have a for loop which loops through myblues.I, which we filled in here, and we are making alpha to be 1, because we want at the start of the game all of the shapes to have alpha 1. Okay, so yeah, this was the recapitulation, and right now we can go with the levels. So what I could do very simply is on the top I am going to create let level is going to be equal to 1, for example. Now I can copy this level and I can go to my generate nums, and instead of generating 5 shapes, I am going to go and I am going to go level, so it is going to be 1. So right now we are going to basically generate 1 shape. Okay, and what we are going to do, we will go to the place where we are going to win, so it is going to be in the correct shape click. We can go, after we are going to console.log winner, and I am going to say that level plus plus, which means increase level by 1, and the same thing I am going to do in a place where we lose, so it is going to be in here where we have console.log you lost in the wrong shape click, and I am going to go level minus minus. So let's see what we are going to have. I will go with Ctrl Enter, I will go with F12, I will click, I am going to have 1 shape, I will have to wait, I will click and I am going to win. Right now I am going to have 2 shapes, so yeah, I will have to wait and I am going to click and I am going to have 2 shapes. Right now I am going to have 3 shapes and so on. So like this, and if I am going to win, I will go to the 4, and right now I will lose, and if I am going to lose, I will go back to the 3 shapes and so on. But there is a little issue with our code. Let me show you. I am going to refresh this, and at the beginning we are going to have 1 shape, but what is going to happen if I am going to lose right now? I will intentionally lose. Loser, I will go with play and nothing, because when we are going to lose game, we are going to go level minus minus, but at the beginning level was 0, at the beginning level was 1, and if you are going to have a level 1 at the beginning and you are going to lose and you will go level minus minus, you will go to 0, and we are generating as many numbers, shapes as we have a level. So if you are going to have in here 0, you are going to generate 0. So what can we do with this? Very simple if statement. I will go if level is going to be bigger than 1, only then I want level minus minus like so, and yeah. So basically this is telling me that if level is going to be 2, if level is going to be 3, if level is going to be 5, decrease the level. But if level is going to be 1, this condition is not going to be true, because 1 is not bigger than 1, only 2 or 3 or 4 and so on. So basically with this simple condition we are going to avoid that if we lose at the beginning, we are going to decrease the level. So right now if I am going to lose, I am going to have a loser, and still I am going to be on the level 1. The same thing we can do to get a maximum level. So yeah, I am going to go to the correct shape click, and for example I can create a if statement that if level is going to be smaller than 7, only then I want to go with level plus plus. So I will go like this, level plus plus, and this means that if level is going to be 5, we are going to increase the level. If level is going to be 6, we are going to increase the level, but then level is going to be 7 and we are not going to increase it anymore. I am going to go, for example, right now with number 3, so we can go there fast. So I will go 1, okay, I am going to click this, and we are going to go to level 2. Right now I am going to have 2 shapes. I am going to click them, and we are going to be on the next level, and then I am going to click these 3 shapes like so, okay, and right now if I go with play, I am still going to have 3 shapes, okay, and yeah, there you could, but this is not for this tutorial. I can go if level is going to be equal to 7, and then I could go with else if, or I could go with one more if, that if level is going to be equal to 7, we can call some function you know, like game finished, and you could have some function game finish, you know, but yeah, we are not going to do that. Now there is a possibility that you do not want to start with the level like with one shape, but maybe you want to start with three shapes. Okay, so there are like two ways how we can do this, or I will show you two ways. So one of them is going to be, I could go let num of shapes, for example, like so, and I'm going to make num of shapes to be equal to 3. And basically, right now what I could do is I could be generating num of shapes like so, like this, and basically when I am going to lose, I am going to go that level minus minus and num of shapes minus minus. Okay, at the beginning it is 3, and the same thing we can do when we win. We can go level plus plus and num of shapes plus plus. Okay, but right now I could go maybe level 5, you know, because when we are going to have level 5 and shapes is going to be 2 or 3 more, you know, you need to adjust this. But yeah, this is the way how we could start with 3 shapes. This is like 3 shapes is level 1, 4 shapes is level 2, and so on. So that's why right now you do not want to go up to level 8, but maybe up to level 6. But we can if we want, but I am just showing you some of the options. You can choose whatever you want, whatever you understand. We could have this, for example, instead of level, I can go if num of shapes is going to be bigger than 3, and so on. But yeah, but I am going to make it simple. So I am going to get rid of this num of shapes, and I am going to go if level is bigger than 1. So we are going to completely get rid of num of shapes, and we are going to completely get rid of num of shapes in here, like so. And basically what I am going to do is I will also get rid of num of shapes in here, and I am going to go to the place where we are generating the shapes, and I will go level plus 2. Okay, so right now we don't have any variable with the num of shapes. We just have a level, and we are saying that if level is going to be 1, generate 1 plus 2, 3 shapes. Okay, so yeah, hopefully this makes sense. One more time, you need to be careful in here right now, because right now if level is going to be 5, you are going to have 7 shapes and so on. But this is for me the simplest way how you can have like because we have level 1 and we are generating level which is 1 plus 2 shapes. Okay, right now I will click, I will go to level 2, and we are generating level which is 2 plus 2 shapes, and so on. So I showed you a couple of options. You can go with whatever you want, but yeah. Now the last thing that we are going to do, we are going to change this reset game a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I am going to select all of this, I am going to cut it, and I am going to put it to the bottom like so, reset game. And this is something which is optional, but what we can do, if we want to make the reset game a little bit more readable, we can create a functions for these little pieces and then just call the functions. So I can go function remove wrong listeners like so. Okay, and yeah, and in the function remove wrong listeners, I am going to cut this for loop which is removing the wrong listeners, and then in the reset game all I need to do is call the function remove wrong listeners. Then I can go ahead and create function remove correct listeners containers like so. And what I can do is, instead of just having a for loop which is removing the correct listeners from the target blues, I can, cut it inside of this function, and in the reset game, I can very simply go remove wrong listeners, remove correct listeners, and so on. Okay, so score is equal to 0. That's something that we are going to leave as it is. Root, BT, and play visible, we are also going to leave. Target blues length is 0. We are going to leave. My blues length is going to be 0. We are going to leave. But we can do something with this. So, but all of this is optional. The game was functioning. I am just showing you how you could improve this little bit. So at the beginning, what we have is we have my blues, and my blues is going to, in the array contain all of the things. But what I could do is I can cut this. I can make my blues to be empty at the beginning, and I'm going to create function fill blues, for example, parentheses, curly braces, and in here what I could do is I can go my blues dot push, and we are going to push all of the blues, and I will have to change all of this from this to root because we are inside of the function. But yeah, I will go like this: read root b3, root b4, and so on. So yeah, like this. So yeah, and this is going to be number 7, number 8, and this is going to be the last one, like so. And basically right now I'm going to have empty array, my blues. I am going to have function which is going to be pushing everything inside of the my blues. And this root, it is the same thing as if we would write this, but we are in the function, and I showed you why. And then what I would do is I would just call the function fill blues. So instead of typing my blues with everything inside, we are going to make it empty. We are going to make function fill blues, where we are going to be pushing everything inside of the my blues, and we are just going to call fill blues. And why would we do this? Because right now I have a function which is going to be filling the blues when it's going to be empty. So in my reset game, after I make my blues length to be 0, I can get rid of this myblues.push because I have this inside of the function, and I can very simply call fill blues. Okay, and the last thing in here, we have filled the blues with all of the shapes, and we are looping through that, and we are making alpha back to be 1. So I can create a function reset my blues, for example, like so. And I am just going to copy this for loop. I am going to cut it. I'm going to paste it in here like so. And in my reset game, I am just going to call that function like so, and yeah. So right now, this depends on your preferences, but we have reset game where we have, okay, remove wrong listener. We can search where it is. Okay, it is in here, remove wrong listener, and there is some for loop which is removing the listeners. Then we have remove correct listeners, and so on. So yeah, and maybe what I would do is from here we are resetting the game. So I can go and make a comment reset game, and yeah, so something like this. But this is optional, and yeah. So I will go with Control Enter, Command Enter. I will click play. I am going to have 3 shapes. I am going to click them. I will just make sure that everything is working. I will go play. I am going to have 4 shapes. Right now I will intentionally lose like so. I will have 3 shapes, and yeah, basically everything is working. So yeah, we are done. This is it. This is all. The last thing that I am going to show you is how you can export this. If you are interested in how you can put this to your HTML5 website or something, these tutorials are going to be in the future. I am still learning, but yeah. So now I'm not going to go through the code one more time. We just added the levels, which was hopefully very simple, and we little bit made the reset game better to be more readable, but it is something which is optional, and I am not going to go through the code anymore. We are going to keep it as it is. I will provide you all of my codes from part 1 to part 5. You can anytime ask ChatGPT or something, but yeah. So I already saved this. So I will go to the place where I have this, and I am going to have my animate file, some recover animate file, some JavaScript, some HTML, some images. And what I'm going to do is I am going to delete this JavaScript, HTML, and images. Basically, by default, Adobe Animate is going to, when you save your project and then you go with Control Enter, it is automatically going to publish you these things to the place where is your Adobe Animate file. What I will do is I will go to the file, I will go to the publish settings, and I will click this select publish destination, and I will have to go through to my place where I have this. So tutorial part 5. So here is where is my animate file, and I'm going to create new folder, and I'm going to call this to be index like so. I will go inside. I'm going to keep this untitled 3.js, I don't mind, and I'm going to click save. And now this is important. By default, or I think by default, you are going to have this as a texture, and texture is going to have convert complex shapes to bitmap for better performance. So it is going to convert vectors to the images, and I will go OK, and I will go file, and I will go publish. So right now in my index folder, I am going to have JavaScript, HTML, and I am going to have images like so. So we are going to have these shapes and so on. I will close this. But this is a little bit an issue, because right now if I'm going to open my HTML and I will go with F12 and I will click play, I am going to have error and nothing is going to be working, and it is going to be, this is most likely due to security restriction on reading canvas. This error is something which for some security restriction, I don't know exactly, is going to happen only in your own browser when you want to play this. As soon as you would put this on a real website or some local server while testing this, it would be working fine if you wouldn't have other errors. But this error is something which is only in your local browser in your PC, but it doesn't mean it's not working. But what we can do, because it is because of these images, and I can put a link in the description for my tutorial, which I didn't make so far, about XAMPP, MAMP, which are like making these local servers, but it is because of these images. So what I can do is I can delete everything because we don't have any images, and I can go to the Adobe Animate and I can go File, Publish Settings, and I will go from Texture to the Sprite Sheet, and Sprite Sheet is going to publish vectors as vectors, images as images, and so on. So I will go OK, I will go File, and I will go Publish. And right now we are not going to have images folder, we are going to have only HTML and JavaScript, and I will open HTML, I will go with F12, I will play, and it is going to be working fine, okay? But even if you would have an images, you know, with some other projects, and you are going to have this kind of error, this concrete error, that security restriction on the reading canvas, it doesn't mean you have something wrong, it is only in your browser, but on the real website or on some local server, it would work. If I make the tutorial about it, I may put it in the description in here, if I don't forget, but maybe you can search on my channel, or you know, I am planning making a lot of tutorials, so yeah, you could see that this was 2 hours something tutorial with all of the parts, but yeah. So we are going to finish this in here. you may have some questions, try, use ChatGPT or some other AI or something. It can be really, really helpful. If not, you can ask me in the comments. Maybe I will know the answer, maybe not. Sometimes, you may ask something, but the answer would be for 20 minutes tutorial, so I cannot, explain in 3 lines something. If you want to create other game or something, I may only create more tutorials, but yeah. So I will finish this. Thank you very much. If you finish this part 5, congratulations. I hope that you will be able to use this. I hope that you have learned something. I hope that you will be able to create your own projects. And yeah. So thank you very much. Congratulations one more time. Enjoy your day and goodbye.